Oh, hey everybody. I'll get to the manga review in just a couple minutes. I'm still trying to figure out what that title from last week was all about. Azordige Equilium. Spent tireless hours on it, but I think it means an ancient Aztec word meaning tomato god, but I'm not sure on that yet. Okay, wait a second. Maybe that R on the page, if you take that and put an R in front of each of the words, it makes Razordige Requiem. And the funny thing is, I would have never figured that out on my own if it wasn't for one YouTube comment. And then another, 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 and then another. And I'm feeling pretty stupid at this point, but, you know, when I read these, I really don't pay attention to little things like that. I mean, I have to read the whole thing, take screenshots, film it. But yeah, that was kind of an obvious thing I missed, so I apologize. Onward to 473. Okay, so chapter opens with Tsukishima still alive, and I would say that he's giving his dying breath to Byakuya, but no, he gets more like a dying paragraph or so. But he's telling him he's pitiless because he cut him down, even though he's the one that taught him everything. And of course, I gotta go back on the whole Tsukishima power thing, where he says he doesn't affect the past, like he doesn't change the past, he just affects people's memories of the past. Once again, crisscross, same thing, but it just... We never, I mean, we saw him cut Byakuya, but Byakuya never acted any differently. I don't know if that's just how he acts normally, like, because, you know, Byakuya is always so stoic and calm, but I'm just saying, if he cut Byakuya and inserted all these memories, shouldn't have Byakuya just, like, stopped fighting all of a sudden and said, oh, sorry, friend, or master, or, you know, whatever Tsukishima would be to him, I'm sorry for beating you up, let's go kick Ichigo's ass. That's what should have happened, but it didn't. So basically, Tsukishima is like everything to Byakuya in his past, but, you know, doesn't really care about him at all. I don't know. But, so while he's walking away, he says, you are an enemy of Kurosaki Ichigo. And, you know, I don't really know if he means like he always was, just because, you know, Ichigo is always so reckless and he does whatever he feels like to save the ones he loves, and that's like against the law, or he'll go against the law. And Byakuya is always, you know, he's upholding. So maybe he does, you know, have some kind of hatred of Ichigo on a level, or, you know, more likely, you know, or just more likely Tsukishima cut Byakuya, or just more likely that's one of the false memories he inserted in Byakuya. Apparently that one stuck more than the, you know, I have a debt to you thing. But Byakuya just kind of ignores what he just said about Ichigo, and instead says, dead or not, I feel no remorse for cutting you down. Yes, that would be one thing that me and Byakuya definitely have in common. I'm even starting my own fan club, the I Hate Tsukishima fan club. If you wish to join, please call 1-800-753-273-343-257-239. That number again is 1-800-PLEASE-DIE-ALREADY. And yes, that's a real number. So Ikaku pops out and has a little chat with Kenpachi about how long it took him in there to get out. And I just love that, how the one that I wanted to see fight the one that loves to fight the most is the one that gets out first, and he has no fun in the matter. But, anyway, so then Renji pops out, and we really didn't know what happened to him after the whole Jackie thing, because Jackie killed herself, and then the whole world kind of collapsed, so we don't really know if Renji got out, but he got out, but it looks like he was really beat up for a while, and I guess unconscious. He said he couldn't move. Kaku asks him, did you at least beat your enemy? And Renji says, she's dead. Probably. I would make fun of that, except for the fact we have no idea what Jackie did to kill herself, so she might be alive for all we know. Who cares? But so Toshiro shows up with Yukio still trapped in his ice, and Yukio's apparently peeved because he let everybody else out, but he's not being freed yet. And then Toshiro says, I don't see Kuchiki and Kuchiki. Oh, I get it. It's because Toshiro always refers to people by their last name, and Rukia and Byakuya have the same last name, so that means that it's a joke? Maybe? I don't know. I didn't laugh. Maybe you did. Moving on. So, yeah, Byakuya shows up with Rukia in his arms, and apparently Rukia was alone when Byakuya found him. He couldn't find any traces of Riruka's Ryatsu, and Rukia's Ryatsu is fine. So, I guess what this is something else people pointed out last week that I never really realized. I thought that Riruka just did something to her vision and knocked her out. A lot of people are saying that she put herself into Rukia. That sounded slightly sexual. But anyway, yeah, so that makes a lot of sense because, you know, she did her whole abilities to put things into other things, basically. So, yeah, that's possible. I can't really see anything else that's happening at this point. And whatever Riruka did, I guess it didn't affect Rukia's Ryatsu or anything. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be debunking on right now, that Riruka is somehow hidden inside of Rukia's body. To figure out what happened, and but Yukio looks like he knows what happened, but then he goes on a lecture that's saying, oh no, we don't know anything about each other's powers, we just know like the bare basics of how they work, which, you know, if you're an organization which, you know, groups together people with the same ability, you think you would want to know about, you know, each other's ability as much as possible, but apparently not. This was a very loosely organized organization. That makes sense. So Yukio asks again if he could be let out of the ice prison, but Toshiro tells him no because Ginjo and Ichigo's chat room is still active. And Yukio's response to that is, yeah, I can't undo that one. You know, for a guy being trapped in an ice prison, you know, made of ice, he's very calm and composed. I gotta give him that much. He complains about, oh, my hands and arms are frozen. I'm like, yeah, you've been in that thing for a while now. You should probably be borderline hypothermic, but whatever. So he tells him that Fullbringers and stuff, goes on to explain the reason he can't do it is because when they all met Ginjo, they all shared their powers. And so Yukio, when he was trading his power with Ginjo, he made a rule that says, you cannot dispel your ability unless I give permission, basically. Now, I have to ask, why did all the execution members agree to do that? Maybe because it was out of gratitude when Ginjo saved them all. Maybe it was because we already established before that Ginjo is a substitute Shinigami, and maybe to get his powers back he needed other Fullbringer powers, but it obviously didn't work because that's why they needed Ichigo. So, yeah, I don't know why they all agreed to, like, share their power with Ginjo, but they did. So, whatever. But I think the reason that Kubo did that, really, was just for plot convenience. I think that's all it was for. Because they had to beat Yukio first. And if Yukio's already beaten, then what's stopping Toshiro from just forcing him to, like, release all the chat rooms? So Kubo had to come up with some ways so Ginjo and Ichigo's fight could still go on uninterrupted, but Yukio could still be captured. So he came up with that little Deus Ex Machina at the end. Okay, so in the next few pages, there's no dialogue, and instead of me standing here going like, oh, Ginjo does get a Getensho, Ichigo does get a Getensho, then he avoids it, then he cuts him. Instead of doing that for like 4 straight pages, I'm just going to show you the battle scene, so enjoy! Yes, I hit the body by the river like you told me to. Thinks I'm a freaking idiot. Oh, hi! We back already? That's good. So, continuing, so Ginjo tells him that he's fighting well, but he acts like he doesn't care what happens to him at all. So Ginjo goes and asks him what is he really fighting for, and then he tells him that Tsukishima's dead. Ah, right there! He said he's dead! Welcome to the wall, buddy. Well, he's not exactly dead yet, but he'll be dead in the next 10 minutes or so. What? Really? Oh, got all excited there. Yeah, 10 minutes left at best, my ass. So after that wonderful little piece of information that makes me want to kill small puppies, he goes on to explain that when a Fullbringer dies, all traces of their ability will disappear. Okay, this has been subject of debate for a while, and yeah, finally got some confirmation on that, of what's going on. Because, you know, back when Tsukishima originally did it, Ichigo's like, well, if I kill him, I don't know if everything's going to go back to normal. But now we do, so this should be important for later. So, and this is where things get a little mindfucky again. He said if Tsukishima dies, the edited past that slipped his presence into will all revert to their original timelines. So everything goes back to normal. Okay, we established that. Chad, Orihime, Tatsuki, all his friends, they're going to go back to normal. But then he asks him the same question from before, what are you really fighting for? So Ichigo doesn't respond to this at all, and Ginjo says he's going to tell him something else. A story about the enemy you really should be fighting. And that's the chapter. I don't know. This chapter was Really good. It finally showed all the what all the Shinigami were up to. All the battles are wrapped up except for them. When I read that, you know, because Bleach, I'm so used to this, I always assumed that Aizen would come back. I don't think it will. I mean, he'll come back this soon because, you know, he's only been gone for hardly a year. So I highly doubt that he's going to be back yet. But, you know, that also, like you think, did Tsukishima cut Ichigo at all? Because he's leading it up to be. Like, he made a big deal about Tsukishima. He mentioned Tsukishima and went out of his way to bring up the fact that when he dies, in the next couple minutes, everything goes back to the way it was. So he wouldn't have said that if it meant that, you know, Ichigo was somehow affected by that. So maybe Tsukishima cut him. It could have been years ago for all we know. Maybe he, not years ago, but it could have been before, you know, all this stuff even happened, like during the time skip sometime. Maybe this was this was their real master plan or something. I don't know, but maybe there's someone higher up on the scale of Ginjo altogether. Maybe he's not even the guy that's behind everything. Maybe someone, you know, even above him. But other than that, I enjoyed the chapter. Thanks for watching. Tekking101 signing out.